and start, you guys, I want to welcome you to the Zoom meeting, and I want to wish you a happy Nurses Week. I just want to take a moment to recognize and say thank you to each of you for not only your support of the Nebraska Nurse Honor Guard, but also your work every day as a nurse in your families, communities, and places of employment. Whether retired or working, nurses still have that passion for caring for others. And it is such a joy to see that passion in the Nebraska Nurse Honor Guard as our team grows. Caring for each other is our specialty, and it shows. The compassion, kindness, giving spirit, and professionalism I so often see is absolutely remarkable. Each time I attend a service, I see the joy you all have in serving others and also in interacting with your fellow Guard members. It's amazing to see our new members getting up to speed, attending services, and most importantly, being welcomed with open arms by our existing members. I'm excited to announce that we have onboarded 30 new members in 2022, and we look forward to onboarding almost that many again by the end of the year. So that'll be almost 60 members this year that will have joined. I hope you will sit back and enjoy our speaker tonight and spend some time this week celebrating you yourselves as nurses. I do want to do just a couple of housekeeping things. I hope that all of you had a chance to read the first edition of the quarterly newsletter. And I want to give a shout out to both Zach Zobel and Ann Anderson on all of their hard work on that newsletter, as well as Donna Bader for being our spotlighted member. If you didn't get a chance to watch Donna's presentation, it is on our YouTube channel. I would really appreciate it if you would support the newsletter by sending us news items, commenting on it, sending us ideas. We really want some feedback on that, you guys. And I encourage you to contact either Zach or Ann if you can volunteer any talents or time to creating the newsletter for June will be the next time it comes out. The Guard will be attending the Patriotic Parade in Omaha. That's May 28th. For anyone that wants to join us, feel free. We are staging between 9 and 9:15 in the ConAgra parking lot at it's 9th and Jackson, I believe it is. The parade route is about 7 blocks long. We do have one convertible for a couple of nurses that don't walk well, and we can make other arrangements too for people that have difficulty walking. And then after the parade, they are offering free food and music on the ConAgra campus. So join us if you can. The Nebraska Land Days Parade is June 18th out in North Platte. We're still working on the details of that, so we will update you as we get more details. And then the North Central area out in St. Paul, you know, that O'Neill, St. Paul, Ord, Albion area, we are onboarding them on June 4th out in St. Paul. So if any of you would like to attend, we would appreciate you welcoming those new members on. And then I think the last thing is our fall conference is October 22nd, and that's at the Ashland Library. I guess it's officially the Ashland Resource Center. That's on Silver Street in Ashland on the main street, starting at 10 and lasting until 2. We would appreciate some volunteers to help with that. They could help with setup, takedown, decorations, or maybe some other things you could volunteer for. And if you can volunteer to help with that, contact Joan Kunis and let her know, excuse me. I am going to have you mute your microphones during the presentation. We will have time for questions at the end, so we will have some time later in the program if you have any questions.
Hey, Deb, you see your chat's filling up about where do they get the newsletter?
Oh, and the newsletter should have been emailed to you. It should have came to you by email. And there are links in the newsletter that you would be able to comment on or send news items in on those links. So everyone should have received that, and that came out in March. So let us know if you didn't, and we can forward it to you. Okay, so like I said, if you would mute your microphones. I take great pleasure in introducing Sue Schuelke, our speaker for the night. I guess it's Dr. Sue Schuelke. Sue is an assistant professor at the University of Nebraska Medical Center College of Nursing in the Lincoln campus. She is an enthusiastic educator and researcher, and she has a special interest in using technology to improve education and patient outcomes, focusing on cardiopulmonary patients in particular. Her interests include critical care and cardiopulmonary rehab nursing. She holds multiple certifications. She is a certified nurse educator. She is a certified professional nurse developer. She is a CCRN. She is a member of the Academy of Educators. She has obtained her bachelor's, her master's, and her doctorate degree from the University of Nebraska. Go Big Red. She has had several publications, and she's also been very successful in obtaining several grants. In 2021, Sue received the Dean's Teaching Excellence Award and the Donna Westmoreland Excellence in Faculty Mentoring Award. I am proud to call Sue my friend, and it has been fun to reconnect with her through the Nebraska Nurse Honor Guard. And thank you so much, Sue, for agreeing to do our Nurses Week Zoom presentation.
I'm humbled to be just at this meeting, and I shared with the people who were on a little earlier that the university has had a lot of losses this last year, and there have been a number of times when the Honor Guard has helped ease that pain and given the people we love the respect they needed. So anyway, I promise not to cry through the whole presentation. All right, first of all, I want to share my screen, and I am totally okay when you guys want to say something, you unmute your camera. This is supposed to be interactive tonight. So let me share my screen. And the first thing I want to do, let me move you guys over here, is I need you all to get your phones out. So if you have your iPhone, and I need you to take a picture, or at least take your camera out and focus on the QR code. And then it'll take you to a little website that you're going to touch. So a few of you are in there. As soon as I see a few more, take that picture, get on this little website, and we're going to do a little what I call a Wordle. Let me know if you're having trouble. So I'll leave it on this one for another 20 seconds or so. And make sure everybody's into the website. It should say AHA Slides. And then just to prep you, I'm going to ask you a question. And the question is, send me words as soon as I get over there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move over. I want you to send me words that you think of when you think of Nebraska Nurses Honor Guard. And you're going to type the words in to the little spaces. And when you're done, kind of scroll down and there'll be a submit button. And you can keep submitting words as often as you want and as many as you want. Now, if you don't have your phone, you can also go to the ahaslides.com and do the \2DPA2. But once you hit that submit button, words should begin to show up on my screen. Is anybody having trouble?
I kind of am, but
Oh, here comes some. And as more people put in different words, the words are going to get bigger, the ones that more people put in. So keep sending me different words.
what was the \, Sue? It was
Like it's up here
ahaslides.com.
right on top, ahaslides.com \2DPA2. Oh, look at somebody's writing. That's cool. I can't read it, but. Okay, so I want you to look at the words and I want you to think about what this says about the group that you're in. You're dedicated, you're compassionate, you're respectful. Legacy building, that's incredible. Virtuous, encouraging, committed, devoted. It's a privilege. You show gratitude, honorable, respect, unselfish, passionate, service, thoughtful, colleagues, kind. I think those are incredible words. And it's amazing. I love that. Selflessness. But just think of what type of person those words describe. Totally impressed. Okay, stay on your phones. Now, I want you to type in, again, any words you want. You guys got the hang of this now. If you could change one thing, whether it be improvement, whether it be more free time, whether it be I want to win the lottery, I don't care what it is, we could wave that magic wand. What would that one thing be for you? Or maybe you have 2 or 3 things, you want to put those in. So you do the same thing. Go ahead and type the different words in that you want. This is your dream magic wand slide. What would you want it to be? I think about, I lost my dad last year and I think, oh, if I had one more day, and then I'd probably want one more. But what would you change about your life right now? So type them in, same space, and let's see what words come up. We'll see how fast everybody's internet is this time. More time. Isn't that that's something we can't, we can buy a lot of things, but we can't buy time. And sometimes we get shorted on time. So then it's, what do we put in first? What do we want to do first? I'll remove hate in the world. That would take care of a whole lot of problems. You think about Russia, you think about diversity, equity, inclusiveness. But look at how many people put time. More time with family. So where are we spending our time? Do we need to reprioritize? Improved health. You know, if we had more time, felt better to do those things, I could do them in a world that had more love in it, that'd be awesome. Wait, one more time here. More energy. I like that. I like that. So we all have something that maybe we would want to change. More Christian values. That's so important. That would allow us more time with family. That would sure cut down on the hate in the world. Very nice. Okay, thank you all for participating. I like to just kind of change things up. That gives me a little idea about your group, about yourselves, about what you're interested in. Can you guys see my slides okay? Okay. What I want to talk about tonight is just joy in balance. So when Deb asked me to speak, I love to talk. Sometimes I talk about things indiscriminately, but I thought I wasn't sure what I had to offer. So I thought, I think balance is key to a lot of us. And when we look at your responses of more time, more love, more family, I just want to talk about joy and balance. Now, you'll see Lucy says that awful moment when you realize this circus is your circus and those monkeys are your monkeys. Okay, nobody can fix this for us. This is our circus and our monkeys. So what I'd like to do tonight in the next, say half hour or so is just talk about what's your current state. Are there a couple of things that you'd like to change so you have greater balance, have a little more time, can hang out with the family a little more? And then reflect on how you can, when you do that, how does that impact others? And the first wordle, when you guys described your group, you are an incredibly unselfish group that serves others. And that's wonderful, but if you don't keep your cup filled up, you don't have anything to give anybody else. So what we're gonna do is talk a little bit about balance, what this is not. This is not making a list of to-dos. This is not me telling you what you need to do to fix your life. This is just a reflection tonight on kind of taking a little inventory and saying, is there something else I could do that just might help me be a little more satisfied or find a little more joy? I love the word joy. So what I want to do right now, and I have 4 envelopes. So all I need is for you to type the winner, to type your name in the chat box, and then I will copy that and print it out before we leave tonight. And you get scooter gift cards. So when you find this item, I want you to open up your mic, say, I found it, and then type your address in the chat box. So the first thing I want you to do is in your home, find a piece of paper and a writing utensil. Hurry, hurry, hurry.
I found it.
Oh, who said that? Oh, no, first one. Who was the first one?
I don't know. Probably Ann.
I don't know.
Okay, we're gonna give that one to Ann. My people are small. So Ann, put your address, and I better put Ann on here just to start with in the chat box. Okay, but that doesn't mean I don't want everybody else to get a piece of paper and a writing utensil, because I do have some other activities. Okay, good job. Who's got a Band-Aid?
Oh, man.
Well, that doesn't count. Who has a Band-Aid?
In the other
They're
room.
nurses, people.
Oh, for God's sake.
No one? Go to the bathroom, get a Band-Aid out of the medicine cabinet. It's worth a coffee card.
I got one.
Got it.
Okay, who said got it?
Trina.
Trina. You get a coffee card.
Cool.
Perfect. This one's going to be harder. Who has a snack in front of them? Oh, and a glass that's filled midway. Oh, that's not even fair, but you win.
Got it.
Okay, and who's that?
Linda?
Linda. Okay. So Linda wins that one. All right, this one is the hardest of all. Who has a rubber band?
Got it. Right here.
Oh my word, who said that?
Right here. It's at my desk.
Okay, superstars. Woof. Okay, so that's the equipment we need for the evening. Okay, so put your name, address in the chat box so I can mail out your scooter gift cards. Okay, this is an exercise I don't want you to do tonight, but I want you to do sometime when you have time. I have this book, and it's by Sigma Theta Tau, and it's called B is for Balance. And Sigma put it out a number of years ago. But one of the things it has you do as a beginning exercise is write down the first thing that pops in your head about what your purpose in life is. And then it says, do that over again. And is that really your purpose? Why is that your purpose? So I said, my purpose might be to raise my children, while my children are raised, what's my new purpose? And it gives a description in this book that if you repeat the step enough times while you're going through it, actually, when you find out your purpose, it should be something that makes you cry, that it goes that deep. So I would encourage you to do that at some time. Reflect, quiet time. I've actually done this at a conference, and people were literally crying in the meeting. They said, I didn't know this would happen, but we got so wrapped up in the bells and the whistles and hurrying. And, you know, I'm not even part of your group, and I was writing down the dates when you're gonna, you know, May 28th and June 18th and how many new members, because that's what I do. I take notes, I write down numbers. I got to be doing something, when sometimes we just need to sit quietly and reflect. One of the things that strikes me, and I know we talked a little earlier before everybody was on, is some of you are on the job yet. Some of you are retired. But one of the things with COVID is I don't think COVID did not affect anybody that had the calling of nursing. Even if you're retired, I know people felt the pain that the nurses working in these COVID units were. I know with my students, last year, we were in week 5 of our rotation, and my one student came up to me, and we were in the unit, and she says, this is such a good day. And I said, what's making the day good? She goes, well, nobody's died yet today. And it didn't dawn on me, or I didn't realize the impact the death of these patients was taking on my students. But every week she had a patient die. And it was happening so frequently, there was hardly a way to give somebody a patient at that time that wasn't going to die or near death or died overnight before we got there. So we look at 16 studies that were done, and I have to talk a little research and then I'll move off it. But nurses are emotionally exhausted. They feel they've been depersonalized, and they have a lack of personal accomplishment. And I thought, how can anybody in this era not feel like what they were doing was meaningful? But I've talked to a number of nurses that said, no matter what we did, we couldn't save the patient. And I think that's affected nurses as a whole, whether you're working in the trenches right now or know what it was like to have patients that just didn't make it. Nurses are more likely, and women nurses especially, are 4 times more likely to commit suicide. You'll hear nurses say terms like, I'm going to hunker down, I'm going to get through the day, I'm going to survive, I'm going to ride this storm out. So what makes nurses so unselfish? And why is it we have a hard time taking care of ourselves? I want to play just this as a very quick little video, and I want to take just a few minutes to play this. Let me know if you don't have sound.
Whoa, that's not good.
Oh, I don't need this. I'm already late.
Somebody will come. Anybody out there?
Do you have a phone?
No. Sorry. Somebody! Hello? There are 2 people stuck on an escalator and we need help. Now, would somebody please do something? Help! I don't believe this. You gotta be kidding me.
I'm gonna cry.
Well, there's not enough left to do, is there?
Hello?
Play.
Hey, don't worry about it. I'll fix it in a second.
He said he can fix it. All right. All right. That's more like it. He says he can fix it.
Now I'm going to ask you, why do you suppose I show that video? Anybody?
Well, everybody was panicky. All they needed to do was walk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And how many times do we maybe do that where we feel we get stuck?
Mhm.
And we could maybe take care of some things ourselves. Have you ever felt stuck in the middle where you don't really see a way out? Or maybe I saw a video, you guys, the other day on Facebook, and it was a turtle who was upside down like this, and another turtle came over and gave him a shove and turned him right side over
Right.
and helped him out. So you might be stuck in the middle and I feel like nobody's going to help. You could be a turtle on your back and your friend comes and helps you up. Or back when we used to get to go to the water park and they said, let's go to the water park. They said, it'll be fun. They said, and you find you're surrounded by noise and you're kind of stuck amongst the clamoring. So a lot of times we can get unstuck ourselves, walk up the escalator, or we might need some help like the little turtle guide. Somebody's got to flip us over. So I like Dory, she says, just keep swimming. But one thing, again, I go back to your word doodle, selfless, thoughtful, but you cannot give what you do not have. So we want, again, fill that cup up, fill your tank up, and let's talk about maybe kind of how we can do it. I had a student who was a second career nursing student, and she had worked at a bank for 20 years. And she said, I worked in business and finance, and I always thought you just went to work, but now I realize what it's like to get up and love what I do. And I just thought how impactful nursing can be. We get to give and take care of other people, do meaningful work, but we need to be on guard about what we're doing. So I want you to think about a few things. And now you got your pencil and paper, and here's a wee bit of homework. I want you to write down one thing that matters to you. And then I want you to think about the difference between what makes you at the end of the day think, God, that was a great day. And just think about that. You go home, you're all buzzed, something either, like for me, it's when that student that I thought, oh my word, they're going to graduate. And then all of a sudden they get it. And that light bulb went on. And I'm like, yes, that makes a great day for me. What happens on the days where you have a spring in your step, where it's just, you know, that goosebump day? What is it you can't wait to tell your family and friends within HIPAA? What is it that you think, I can't wait? And for me, it might be a funny picture my daughter sends me of my new grandbaby. You know, I can't wait to go home and say, oh, look how cute she is. I know we're prejudiced, but she is a genius, you know. And what motivates you? What motivates you to do better? And how do we surround ourselves with these kinds of things? So just that reflection, what matters? What makes a day great? What can we not wait to tell people, and what motivates you? Write them down, kind of mull over them. And we got to go to the dark side too. Okay. So it's not about the mountains ahead that we climbed that wear you out. It's the pebble in your shoe. And this actually is a picture, you guys, of a pebble that was in my shoe one day. And I would have thought it was the size of a boulder, like those rocks you use for landscaping. And I was walking, doing my thing. And I thought, there's this huge rock in my shoe. And I go and I look at my shoe. I can't see it. I have to feel it. And I finally found it. And it was like a fourth of a pencil. But I was so focused on how that felt in my shoe that all I had to do was stop and take that pebble out so I could get to my goal. So now I want to know what gets in the way of what matters. What day do you go home and say, oh my word, it was a bad day? So what makes it a not good day? What gets in the way of a good day? What frustrates you? What is that pet peeve you have? Now, this is a picture of Wilson. I don't know how many of you saw Tom Hanks' Castaway, but Wilson was what kept Tom Hanks going. And when he lost Wilson, look at that video movie clip. I cry, of course, you guys already know I cry easy. And it was like, oh, he lost Wilson, but Wilson is what kept him going. So think about your pebbles. What are the little irritants in your life? What kind of drives you crazy. Those things that keep you from having that spring in your step because it's a little pebble in your shoe. And let's identify those and then talk about kind of what we can do about those things. So if I'm gonna look at something, maybe I want to kind of refocus, I am probably not going to start out here in my circle of concern. I loved the answer, less hate in the world. Now, I don't know if I can do very much about Russia and the Ukraine right now. I can talk to my policymakers, but in my circle in control, what I can do is give money to the orphan grain train who are going to send towels over to the refugees. So as I look at my pebbles, I look at my challenges, I want to focus on what I can control, manage those, work out to my circle of influence, and then go to my circle of concern. But you need to start somewhere. So I'm at the university. This is our nursing building. And then the health center here has 9 dimensions of wellness. So this goes back to what would you change if you had a magic wand? And everybody's talking about time. So is it time for a career? Is it time for social things? Is it time for a spiritual need? Do you need time to run? Do we need time to gain a little interest as the inflation's going kind of crazy? Do we want to spend it on intellectual, creative things? We have 24 hours in a day and we have 9 dimensions on where we could spend this. So now I want you to just draw a circle on your piece of paper if you would. And if you don't want to draw it, think about it in your head. And one thing you can do is look at your dimensions of wellness. This is another way to evaluate what we're doing. And say my little center point is 0. And out here at the edge of my circle is 10. If I had to rate each one of these things, what would I rate it at? Would my emotional be a 3? My spirituals maybe an 8. My physical, I'd have to say 0, the way I've been operating lately. What's my financials? And you can take these 9 dimensions of wellness and kind of rate each one and then draw your lines together. And if they are uneven, like this example is, maybe there's an area we need to kind of focus on. So we're going to talk about each one of these little dimensions very, very quickly here. So if I'm going to talk about these things, this is a nice little book. You guys can tell I don't read long books, but it's called The Time for Me. And it's just one of those ones that's printed by Simple Truths. And it says, when you're looking at change, look for clarity. So define it. Then you're going to have to let something go. So sometimes you're going to have to tell somebody no. If you feel like you need more time for things, then maybe you don't have time to plant 10 different varieties of roses this summer because you're going to make time to go out with your friends a little more. Decide what brings you pleasure. Like we talked about, what is the one thing you'd want? And then practice, because these things don't come easy unless we kind of make it a priority, focus on it, and move forward with it. So emotional, great, another great little book. It's called The Playground Principle. And it just says, do these things to be emotionally safe. And one of the things that caught me in the book was it said, we need to break the golden rule. We always say, do unto others as we'd have them do unto us. Well, that's why, you guys, I got light bulbs in my garage for Mother's Day, because my husband was thinking, what would he want? And he would want these big fancy lights in my garage. What this book says is, do unto others how they want to be treated. Like, I want to talk and I want to visit, and he wants to check grain market prices on his iPad in peace. So we have to compromise. Another thing on here that really spoke to me is avoid the rumor mill. And part of that is because I saw this sign when I went to Waco to the Magnolia place, and it says, if you can't say anything nice about somebody, come sit by me, because I like a good story. And so maybe that's not the wisest thing for me to do with my little chatterbox talk, that I need to watch that rumor mill. So think about emotional safety. What do you need to feel emotionally safe, and what do you need to do to be emotionally safe for other people? Along with being emotionally safe, how do you talk to yourself? Do you talk to yourself like you're your best friend? Because if you have positive talk, you're going to see these health benefits. And these came from Mayo Clinic. I have my references at the end. But if you can talk positively to yourself, it actually will improve your health, because your emotional health is tied to your physical health. So how do I know if I talk negatively to myself? Do I filter? Do I personalize? Do I catastrophize? You know what I mean, you guys. Do I polarize? So do I see everything as good and bad? Do I anticipate the worst? Do I magnify negative aspects? So some examples. I've never done it before. It's too complicated. I don't have the resources. Along with this one, I'd say I don't have the talent. I'm too lazy to get it done. Maybe I'm not pretty enough to get it done. Maybe I'm not smart enough to get it done. No way this is going to work. So negative self-talk. So those of you who found the rubber band, you put that rubber band on your wrist, and every time you talk negative to yourself, like you're not your best friend, you have to snap yourself. And those of you who didn't find a rubber band, you just have to slap yourself silly anyway. But do something to catch yourself and see how can you go an hour without talking negatively to yourself, because it's amazing how we would never say that to our best friend. You know, I think about when I go home and my little dog sees me, she goes nuts, she goes bonkers, she greets me like no other, and she thinks I'm wonderful. But I'm going to walk in the door and I'm thinking, you know, I didn't get this done today. Oh my word, there's dishes, I'll never get those done. I should have done this, I should have done that. Negative self-talk. So instead of talking to yourself like, I'm too lazy to get this done, you can say, well, I couldn't fit it into my schedule today, but I'll relook at my priorities. No way I can get this done. It won't work. I can try to make it work. So think about how you can change that. And when you do that negative self-talk, give yourself a little bit of a snap. Now, Linda, you had a glass that was full about midway. Do you describe that glass as half full or half empty?
It depends on the day, but mostly it's half full.
You know what? I really appreciate your honesty. It does kind of depend on the day, but just how you look at things. Try to you know, that spirit of gratitude. There's a lot of research that says if you can write down 3 things every day that you're grateful for, that it will improve your mental health and physical health. Okay, whether you're in a career or if you're retired. So it says career, but for you guys that are retired, that means your retirement. So why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you in the honor guard? Who is it you want to respect? Is it because somebody gave you that respect? Is it your respect for the profession? But whatever you do, whether you're retired or have a career, do something you love. Fill your time, and you don't have to fill it all, but find something that is meaningful to you, that makes you feel fulfilled, that fits in with your mission or vision, which takes us back to that purpose. My husband loves farming. He loves to be dirty. It's, you know, if he had to pick between the ground and me, I'm afraid to say he'd probably pick the ground, but it's his passion. And he could not do anything else. And I feel the same way about nursing. It's my calling. What about social? Do you feel like you're missing out on things? Here's my 2 little dinosaurs, missed the Noah's Ark. Here's my best friend. What toll did COVID play on your social life? What did you lose friends to COVID? So your assignment for your social life is to think of 3 friends you would like to connect with. And you can call them, you can meet with them. Please don't merely text. Be creative. If you don't have time to meet in person, do a Zoom. During the really isolated days of COVID, the kids and I would get together and play games on Zoom. And they all told me how lame it was. And then they all said, when are we going to do it again? And my children are in their 20s and 30s. So reconnect with some friends. Go to lunch, go for a walk. It can be very inexpensive. If your friend's far away, you know, Zoom's awesome, but do something where you can see them and reconnect socially. We're seeing in our nursing students a real decrease in social skills just because they have had so little contact in their recent years. It's been very interesting. Okay, the next one was spiritual. Take time to meditate, do a devotion. Find what fills your cup. And I know I've used that term a number of times, but we did a lot of Gallup and Tom Rath, and your gratitude, your thoughtfulness that you tell others fills their cup. Do the things that bring meaning to you. And you know, we talked about emotion, we talked about physical. Spiritual is essential also. And it doesn't have to be a religious spiritual, but something that connects you to that higher power. Physical. Now, I'm not real big into exercise, but I need to be. So move. I read a book and it was Next Years Younger. And it said, I always had learned to start slow. You know, as a cardiac rehab nurse, doesn't have to be 30 minutes all at once now. It can be 10 minutes here and 10 minutes there. This book says, don't start slow, go for it. And if you're retired, especially if you're retired, it says, make physical activity your new job. Set a time for it. Do yoga, stretch, walk your dog, do your housework. Gardening isn't on here. Park far away. The more physical movement you can have, the better for your cardiovascular, better for your joints. Your nurses, you know these things. But again, it's that time commitment and how do we fit it all in. Financial is another realm. You know, do you have a budget? Do we need to simplify? Do you want to take a Dave Ramsey course? Do you need to talk to somebody about retirement planning? But if there's a need, again, there are resources that you can read, you can take courses in. The web is valuable in resources. And that takes me to the next one, which is intellectual. Let's challenge our neurons. Now, I have a thing about toilet paper, you guys, and if you're at my house and I have the ones where all you have to do is slip it on a little rod. I don't even have to take anything apart to put it on. I've tried to teach my entire family how to change the toilet paper. And so I got this card and I loved it. It says, when Karen asked, would it kill you to replace the toilet paper roll? She had no idea. Okay, so there are different levels of intellectual challenge. But whatever it is, challenge your neurons. And I think this fits nicely into creativity. So what could you do if you feel a little stifled creatively? Journal, write your reflections down, meditate again, unclutter, break your routine, add color, whether it's your hair color, whether it's a wall color, whether it's a pop of color with pillows, try something new. Take a new class. It could be sewing, it could be cake decorating, it might be crochet. Attend a conference, browse a bookstore. I love to go into Barnes and Noble. Engage in an expressive outlet. My mom's in the care center and they have given her all these coloring books and word searches. And it amazes me how she confuses me with my aunt sometimes, but she can color really beautiful things. And it helps her stay more alert. And finally, our environment. So who is your environment? If you were sitting at that board table and you're the chairman, who do you have around you filling your table? And what are their roles? Do you unplug? Do you engage with your senses? Do you go out and get that sunlight, the light? We talked about decluttering. This is not my desk, you guys, in this upper corner, but there have been moments when it could have been. Again, color, nature. And then what's your environment for sleep? Are you this little gal? Do you check your phone right before you go to bed? Does blue screen interrupt your sleep? Do you have a routine for sleep? So sleep is really essential. So you want to make sure you have the proper environment for that too. So now we're going back to the what ifs, back to that one of those original polls. If you could do something on your wish list, what would that be? If you could learn something new, what would you pick? If you could change something about your job or your retirement, what would you change? If you could repair a relationship, which one would you wish was better? And if you needed to overcome an obstacle in your life, what would that be? So I want you to take care of yourselves. I want you to dream big. And I love Abe Lincoln, and he said the best way to predict your future is to create it. We're all given a specific amount of time, specific gifts, talents, specific burdens. But the best way to make the most out of those things is to learn to say no to some things, prioritize, and decide what we want to spend our time on. Stephen Noy used to do here are my resources, and I can send these to Deb. I'm going to stop sharing. Stephen Noy, who was a speaker that came to St. Elizabeth when I worked out there, he used the example of mason jar. And if you have big, huge rocks and you put those in, does the jar look full? Well, it did, but you could fit pebbles in around those rocks. And then you could fit sand in around those pebbles, and then finally water. So if you took care of the big things first, you can put little things in there with it. Now, if you put the pebbles in first and then the sand, there's no way the big rocks would fit in. And my wish for you is that you get your big rocks in your jar first. You look at those 9 areas of wellness and you find joy in what you do, and focus on maybe 2 or 3 things that might just bring a little more joy and balance to what you're doing. But I will tell you, I struggle every day with these things. And sometimes what I want to do, I don't do, and what I don't want to do, I end up doing. It's not that I'm like Paul, but I get him. Anyway, that is all I have. And if anybody wants to share any of their "if I could dream" comments, I would love to hear those. So any comments, any questions?
My first comment is thank you, Sue. And my next comment is, I don't know where Jody is at, but that's where I want to be. Looks like she's on a beach.
Jody, where are you?
I'm at home, but you can adjust the background on your Zoom to have it whatever you want it to be. And so I have the tropical look.
Oh, I'm a little disappointed, Jody.
Well, if you can't be there, you can at least pretend to be there, right?
That's true. That's
There
true.
you go. There you go.
Okay, I'm going to hang on. I'm taking a picture of the chat box so I have addresses. Any other comments? I think the work you guys do is incredible. And my only concern for the group is that you take care of everybody else and just make sure that you take care of yourselves and each other.
Thank you, Sue. It was just encouraging to hear this. You know, I think so many times as nurses, these are things that we know and maybe share with others, but to hear them spoken to us is good. And thank you.
You're very welcome. And I look forward to seeing who comes on Wednesday. The university is privileged to have you guys come in. So
Oh, we're privileged to be able to do that, and we're excited to see everyone there too.
yeah.
So
Thank you, Sue.